Hi, I'm Eric from Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite summer side dish recipes. We're going to be doing yellow summer squash, and I'm going to be adding some amazing flavor to the squash. We're going to be using a combination of fresh herbs, garlic, lemon juice, and sun-dried tomatoes to really enhance this dish. This is the perfect side dish for summer. It goes well with any type of grilled meat or steak. Stick around and I'll show you how it's done. So one of the most important things when you cook this dish is to buy really high quality produce. This is organic, locally grown yellow squash. You can see that it has a really vibrant color, which is also going to equate to extra flavor when we cook this up. And it's really easy to prep the squash. All we want to do, we want to cut off these little end pieces. We're not going to use those. So you just want to cut those off, and then you want to just cut it into about 3 manageable sized pieces like this. We're going to cut each one in half. And then we just want to slice this up into medium-sized cuts that look about like that. So I'm going to continue with the rest of the squash. And you can see that yielded quite a bit of squash from the 3 pieces. This is enough for 3 or 4 people easily to serve as a side dish. And what really sets this squash over the top is the use of fresh herbs. So I have some fresh thyme. And all I'm going to do is I am going to strip the leaves off of the stem using my fingers like this. And I didn't need to use that whole bundle of thyme. I just used about 5 or 6 sprigs. But what you want to do, once you get those leaves off the stem, you want to just take your knife and run it through a couple times. We just want these cut up a little bit more fine. So that looks good. And today, in addition to the thyme, I'm also going to be using fresh basil. Now you don't have to use them both, you can use either or, but if you have them, they actually do pair quite nice. So what we want to do to prep the basil, you just want to take about 3 or 4 of these leaves at a time, and you want to just kind of roll them in like this, and we're going to use our knife and just cut this into thin strips. After you prep all your fresh basil, it'll look a little something like this. This next ingredient is going to give us some delicious flavor, but also some beautiful color as well. I have about 7 sun-dried tomatoes. These come packed in oil, which I have drained off on some paper towel. And I'm going to start by just cutting these into thin slices. And once you get all your sun-dried tomatoes cut into strips, I like to go through just one more time with my knife just to give that a little bit more of a rough chop. And that's what you're looking for. You want to cut these into fairly small sized pieces like that. Next I have 2 garlic cloves. I have taken the skin off of these, and all I'm going to do is to crush them up using a garlic press. Like that. And just the last ingredient that I need to prep is a lemon. So I'm going to cut off just about 1/3 of a lemon. We're going to be adding some fresh squeezed lemon juice to complete this dish. And what I'm going to be using to cook the yellow squash, I'm going to be using a combination of some Italian extra virgin olive oil. With that, I'm going to add some butter. Now with this, we get the flavor from the butter, but we get a higher smoke point from mixing it with that olive oil. So that's why I'm using both. I'm just going to get that swirled around, melted on the bottom of that pan. And once your butter has almost completely melted, you want to go in with your yellow squash. So you just want to get it all in there and give it a big swirled coat. And what we want to do as we cook this, we have it on the medium-high heat because this cooks well when you cook it fast. You want to be sure to get a good sear on the exterior to get some nice color, which produces flavor, but we want to make sure that we don't cook it too much. Squash can really turn to mush if you let it go, so this is only going to take about 10 minutes because we're cooking it on high heat, or medium-high heat. So we're going to let this go for a few minutes untouched. Okay, and after your squash has been sauteing for a couple of minutes, we can go in with some seasoning. I'm going to add some cracked black pepper, and some sea salt. And what we want to do now is we want to give everything a big mix. And as you cook this, you want to be sure to flip these over. We want to hit all sides. So we got that seasoning on the top side, but we want to make sure to move this throughout the cooking process. And you want to make sure you're not just moving it around. You want to make sure you're flipping it over, hitting all those sides. Okay, so a couple minutes more into the process. At this point, our squash has been going for about 5 or 6 minutes. You can see we're starting to get a little bit of brown color on some of these exteriors around the corners. And about at this point, about halfway into the cooking process, I keep saying that wrong, I'm going to turn the heat down just to medium now. And at this point, we can start adding some of the ingredients. Now, we don't want to add them all. First, I'm going to go in with the garlic as well as the fresh thyme. And what you want to do, you want to get those into the pan and then immediately swirl everything to coat these and to evenly incorporate them into the dish. We want to just keep this moving so that garlic doesn't burn. And again, you want to be sure to keep flipping everything as you go, just to make sure that all sides of your squash get evenly coated with the herbs and garlic. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes since we added the thyme and the garlic. At this point, we can go in with our sun-dried tomatoes. And these are about maybe just 2 or 3 minutes away, the squash, from being fully cooked. So we just want to get this in there and continue to stir and continue to flip like we've been doing. Okay, and at this point, our squash looks ready, so I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to add in the freshly squeezed lemon juice. Just add that in and give it a big stir. And last but not least, I'm going to add the fresh basil. We added this last because this is a very delicate herb, and this would have burned up in the pan if we had that on over the heat. So I'm just going to stir this up for a minute, and this is about ready to plate up. Okay, so here is our final dish plated up. Yellow summer squash with fresh thyme, basil, lemon juice, garlic, and sun-dried tomatoes. Let me dig in and give that a try. So what made this so good, a couple things. We cooked the squash perfectly. We cooked it on that medium-high heat. It got us amazing color and flavor on the exterior, but we cooked it quickly, so the interior didn't turn too soft. You know, some people really overcook their squash and turn it to mush, but this is still delicious and crisp. And those fresh herbs, the garlic, lemon, and especially those sun-dried tomatoes, they just add an amazing flavor, makes this dish perfect for summer. I really hope you give this recipe a try. You're going to love it. I'm Eric from Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.